Are you here?
Just being nosy.
My name's Matt, I'm a police officer.
Okay.
Obviously you're on police premises.
Okay.
So we're just asking why you're here. What's that?
It's,
tripod, is it?
yeah, something like that.
Okay.
What is your purpose of being here?
What do you mean?
What's your purpose with the mask? Covering your face and your hood up?
It's cold.
Yeah?
Very cold.
Is there anything that we can help you with? Is there any information you need to know?
What's the issue?
What's that?
What's the issue?
Well, you can acknowledge it's a little bit suspicious. I just come to see if you're okay. There's no issue.
Suspicious about what?
Well, you're on police premises, you've got your face covered, you've got something that I can't identify sticking out your trouser pocket, so we're just looking to learn more. What's your name?
Why do you need my name?
Okay, mate, I'm going to search you.
Right, calm yourself down. What are you searching me for?
I'm going to search you for offensive weapon.
For an offensive weapon? You already said it's a tripod. I told you it's a tripod.
Okay, well, you're saying that, but I can't satisfy.
One officer claims William can't film because the police station is private property, but that overlooks a key point. Private ownership doesn't prevent someone from filming it from a public place. That's where the argument starts to unravel. William then refers to a letter from the chief constable confirming that members of the public are allowed to film police stations from publicly accessible areas, guidance intended to avoid exactly this kind of conflict. Instead of engaging with that, the sergeant dismisses it without addressing what her own force has already acknowledged, which highlights a disconnect between her position and official policy. With no clear legal footing left, the tone shifts toward hinting at arrest, moving away from explanation and toward pressure.
Is there any need for the
you are
cuffs?
being hostile.
So is there any need for the cuffs?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you're not cooperating with us.
I don't need to cooperate with you.
You need to keep us safe.
I'm not doing nothing wrong.
Safe.
Can you identify yourself, please?
PC20361,
okay.
just as I said
so
to you
what's
before.
the grounds for the search?
Our grounds for the search are for an offensive weapon. You're on police premises. You're on police premises.
That's not grounds.
We don't know who you are. You've got your face covered.
That's not grounds.
Well, it's good enough for me.
It's not good enough. It's not good enough at all.
It is.
It's absolutely preposterous. What's the grounds for the search? For an offensive weapon? So what's led you to believe I've got an offensive weapon?
You got something that we can't identify.
But you identified it. You said it was a tripod.
I said, is that what it is? But I can't see what it is.
Right. You don't need to see what it is.
All right.
It's a tripod.
Let's get back to square one.
No, we don't go back to square one.
So why are you here?
Did you identify yourself? Did you?
You've asked me 3 times.
I may not have heard you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you've got your camera.
And I'm not your
on,
mate.
so
Okay. You've literally just come out and put me in handcuffs.
Okay.
So I'm definitely not your mate.
Okay.
Okay. So do you mind formally identifying yourself, please?
Do you want to just sit down for a second?
No, I don't want to sit down.
I've already identified
Show
myself.
me a warrant card.
I'm collar 45.
Got it in your name?
I don't need to give you my name.
You do 3 points identification.
No, I don't.
Are you based out of here?
I don't need to tell you that. I'm collar 45.
When asked what action she would take, the sergeant responds that it depends on what William does, which exposes a fundamental issue. Police powers aren't based on future possibilities, they require specific, lawful grounds at the time. Escalating to threats of arrest based on what might happen shifts the focus away from established facts and into speculation. The situation becomes more concerning when she threatens to seize his phone, while also stating she doesn't need to quote any legislation. Knowing and being able to explain the legal basis for using police powers isn't optional, it's a core requirement, particularly at a supervisory level. Threatening arrest and seizure without clearly identifying the power being relied on suggests an attempt to assert authority without a solid legal foundation, raising serious questions about how those powers are being applied.
I've already showed you my ID.
Can you be careful with that? It's very expensive.
Of course I will. But you can see that I can only see that bit.
You said it was a tripod. I don't care.
Sticking out of your trousers.
And your point?
So why are you being argumentative?
Argumentative? You just come out and put me in cuffs, are you dumb?
Yeah, because
are you stupid?
You've come onto police.
Are you stupid? You've not given me any grounds for the search, okay, except you're looking for an offensive weapon. That is not grounds. So you're going to find yourself a hole.
It's
not grounds at all.
You're on police premises acting suspiciously, walking around all of the cars.
It's a public place.
It's still police premises.
We're not allowed to walk about here.
It's got implied public access, but it's still police premises.
Right, so I've been on here.
You've got your face covered,
and
you've got that portion of this sticking out of your trousers.
Would you say that to someone wearing a burqa? Would you?
Yes, I would.
Would you?
Yeah.
That's despicable. Absolutely despicable. You don't need to know why I've got my face covered.
I see what your agenda is here.
What agenda is that?
You're just trying to make a point for making a point.
You just come out and put cuffs on me.
But it's not clear what that point is.
And you've not given me grounds for the search. You've not told me what...
We've given you the grounds. We've gone through about 3 times.
That's not grounds, my friend.
The grounds are you're on police premises.
And that is not grounds for a search.
You're not letting me finish. So
yeah, because you're talking nonsense.
You're talking nonsense.
Right.
Bring him over here.
Yeah.
Finish the search and do what you got to do, and then we'll see what happens, because I guarantee you I'm going to drag you boys into a professional standards investigation, and then I'm going to sue the living daylights out your constabulary.
When William asks whether any bylaws actually prevent him from filming, the sergeant repeatedly talks over him instead of answering, which only highlights the likelihood that none can be identified. If a relevant bylaw existed, it would take seconds to name it. Instead, the question is avoided while the challenge to his actions continues. She then accuses William of wasting police time, despite the fact that the officers initiated the interaction and chose to prolong it in the absence of any identified offence. Complaining about being busy while continuing an unnecessary encounter only adds to the contradiction. Rather than stepping back once it became clear no unlawful behaviour was taking place, she doubles down and shifts the blame. That not only weakens the reasoning but also reflects poor judgment from someone expected to take the lead in the situation.
Suspiciously. What am I doing that's acting suspiciously?
Hood up, face covered, we're asking your name, what you're doing, you've got something sticking out your pocket.
You're not obliged to any of that information. You're not obliged to any of that information.
What do you mean obliged?
You're not obliged to any of that information. You can ask me, but I'm not obliged to provide any of that information.
What's caused this? What
piece of legislation have you used to stop and search me?
So why are you here?
We search you under Section 1 of PACE.
That's none of your business.
It is our business.
No, it's not.
As I've just explained.
No, it's not.
We're
I'm not obliged to.
You're
I'm not
on
obliged
police
to
premises. You've got your face covered.
I'm not obliged to answer that.
Something that looks at a distance like a weapon.
If you say so.
It is our business.
If you say so.
Well, I'm just trying to talk to you and trying to establish what the issue is.
Am I obliged to answer you?
No.
Exactly. So shut up and just do your job.
We're going around in circles. You're telling me to shut up, and then you're asking us questions.
Be quiet.
So does this go both ways? Does it?
No, it doesn't.
I've got shut. Oh, and it doesn't.
No, it doesn't go both ways.
Oh, right. No,
it's definitely one way. You're a public servant. You do what you're told.
There's a lot of worried people inside that building. You don't care about the people that are worried because there's somebody.
They're worried enough to have locked the doors before we came out.
Oh no! Did it hurt someone's feelings?
Well, they don't know why you're here. You're giving people concern. That's what we're trying to explain. That's what we're trying to explain to you.
It's none of their business. I'm not obliged to answer that.
The issue is you're here with the.
They then take issue with William photographing vehicles in the police car park, not because it breaches any identifiable rule, but simply because they don't like it. That alone highlights the problem. Personal discomfort doesn't create a legal restriction. Even after acknowledging there's no law preventing him from recording, they still attempt to direct him to stop, which suggests an effort to control behaviour without clear authority. The situation becomes more concerning when the sergeant warns they'll track him down if the footage appears online. That kind of comment comes across less like professional policing and more like a warning to that point. The interaction shifts away from grounded law enforcement and toward decisions being influenced by personal preference rather than clear legal standards.
Don't take that off, it's a medical device. It's attached to my body.
What is it?
It's a medical device, that's all you need to know.
You just tell me what it is.
It's a medical device, it's attached to my body.
Okay, what sort of medical device?
It's a medical device.
What does it do?
Again, I'm not obliged to answer that. It's attached to my body, it's a medical device.
You're not enabling me to make a reasonable decision, are you? Because I don't know what it is. You're telling me it's a medical device.
If you're going to pull it off, you're going to injure me and you're going to put my life at risk.
Why don't you just tell me what it is?
I've told you, it's a medical device.
For what?
For medical reasons.
Is it for insulin or something?
Again, I'm not obliged to answer you. I've told you it's a medical device.
Well, you're not making my job very easy, are you?
I'm not here to make your job easy.
I need the number of this backpack because I need to establish what's in here.
No, I reserve the right to remain silent on that question. If you break it, you'll be liable to pay for it.
I think you're not going to leave us much option other than to arrest you.
Arrest me?
Suspicion of carrying an offensive weapon, judging by your demeanour, how you're dressed. How you come to our attention in the first place, so we'll have to.
You're twisting the cuffs again.
In order to
my hands are staying.
You're twisting the cuffs. Look at them, man. If you arrest me, then that's down to you. I'm not here to help you do your job.
When William asks where the claim comes from that filming private land isn't allowed, the sergeant admits she can't say, which immediately weakens her position. If someone is being directed to stop an activity, the basis for that direction should be clear and identifiable, not something vague or unknown. Failing to point to any source only highlights how little substance there is behind the claim. The situation then worsens when William asks to see the other officer's warrant card and is refused, with the sergeant incorrectly stating he can only see it if he's being searched. That's not accurate. Under professional standards, officers are generally expected to identify themselves when requested, especially during an interaction they initiated.
But if you do arrest me, then I'll obviously be legally obliged to provide a code.
Why don't you give me the number to this?
Because at this moment in time, I'm not legally obliged to. Once I'm legally obliged to, then by all means.
In relation to you,
I've only been here
worrying people inside the building to the point the doors have been locked.
Is that a crime?
It's not a crime, but it's raised concern. Nobody said it's a crime, is it?
Well, why have you got me in handcuffs? He's threatened to arrest me.
Because we're doing a search.
See, I'm not here to help you do your job. Investigate. Maybe do that first before you put someone in cuffs.
But you're going to need to leave.
I'm not going to leave.
Yeah, you are going to leave.
What lawful basis are you going to make me leave?
You don't need to leave here. We're satisfied that you've got nothing on you.
What are you going to do if I don't leave? Nothing.
Why be fearful that you're going to create a breach of the peace?
I'm not going to create a breach of the peace. If anyone's escalated this situation,
so we could arrest you to prevent a breach of the peace.
Was I committing a breach of the peace before you guys arrived?
Listen to me.
Was I committing a breach of the peace before you guys arrived?
You've not been arrested for a breach of the peace.
He's just threatening to arrest.
It's causing a significant amount of concern whereby people inside the building felt the need to lock the doors.
Right. That's not my problem, is it? I'm out here minding my own business. It doesn't make it a crime. Doesn't make it breach of the peace.
The other officer then suggests issuing a direction to leave, effectively hinting at a dispersal order. However, those powers under the Antisocial Behaviour, Crime and Policing Act 2014 require behaviour that is likely to cause harassment, alarm, or distress, not someone quietly filming in a public area with no complaints and no disruptive conduct. The threshold simply isn't there, which makes the suggestion appear misplaced. The sergeant then compounds the issue by claiming William could be committing an offence by wasting police time. That's incorrect. Under the Criminal Law Act 1967, Section 5, the offence relates to knowingly making a false report, not situations like this. Mixing up two entirely different scenarios highlights a lack of clarity around the powers being referenced. Hearing that from a supervising officer raises further concerns about how confidently these authorities were being invoked without a clear understanding of their scope.
You're talking nonsense, man. You're talking nonsense.
Your presence and your actions here are not friendly.
Says who?
And you've not accounted
says who?
And you've not accounted for what you've
I don't need to account for what I'm doing.
I need your details.
You don't need the details for a search record.
How am I going to give you the details then?
You don't need my.
Send them to you after the time.
No, I want a paper. I want a paper copy.
We don't carry. I haven't got a paper copy.
You go get one.
But I can send you one if you give me the details. I can send you one.
Police station there.
Well, we're in a bit of a situation then,
don't
aren't we?
refuse my search record. It's my right to have a search record.
You can sit here.
It's my right to have a search record. And I do not need to provide details for a search record.
That's not our daily course of business.
100% it is.
It's going to take a while.
I do have the right to a search record.
No, it isn't our daily course of business. That's not the type of police.
No, you shouldn't come out searching people for no reason.
One, but you will need to wait. And
take the cuffs off.
I don't need to talk.
Take the cuffs off.
And you'll get a copy of the search. But as explained to you, you'll have to wait.
I think you're talking nonsense.
Okay. Do you understand what I said?
It sounded like gobbledygook.
Okay. Well,
you're going to get a copy of the search, but you're going to have to wait for it.
I can only hear one person at a time. You're talking over each other.
See you later.
So you're refusing my copy of a search. Is that what's happening? As is my right.
The sergeant then becomes visibly frustrated when William questions her, insisting he has no right to challenge her. That's concerning, because members of the public are fully entitled to ask officers to justify their actions. Allowing frustration to shape her response reflects a lack of professionalism and composure expected at that level. The sudden abandonment of the dispersal idea also suggests the legal threshold wasn't met. Instead, the sergeant shifts to warning that if the footage appears online, William could be arrested for malicious communications. While this is the first time a specific law is mentioned, it still doesn't align with the situation. Under the Malicious Communications Act 1988, the offence requires communications that are grossly offensive, threatening, or intended to cause distress, not simply posting lawful footage of police in a public place. When William asks whether the offence she mentioned is summary or indictable, the sergeant doesn't know, which is revealing. That distinction matters because it determines the seriousness of the offence and what powers officers can rely on. Summary offences are typically dealt with in a magistrate's court and carry lower-level consequences, while indictable offences are more serious and can involve broader police powers. For a sergeant to threaten arrest under legislation without understanding how the offence is classified exposes a significant gap in knowledge. William then asks about making a freedom of information. request and whether their body-worn cameras are activated, yet both officers ignore him and walk away. Officers are expected to act transparently, and body-worn video policies generally encourage informing individuals when recording, especially during interactions that have escalated.